How would you like to have an anti-cheat vaccination that you could give to any man? One shot of this and he would never even think about cheating on you. Well, you're probably thinking that that's unrealistic, and yeah, you're sort of correct, but what I want to show you today is how to do the best thing for yourself and your relationship, which is to not get involved with a man who cheats in the first place. Let's go. Hey, it's Carlos Cavallo from datingfire.com and datingadviceguru.com. Welcome back to the dating and relationship secrets you need to know. First of all, if you haven't watched it already, you probably should watch my other video on why men cheat. You'd be surprised. Most of the reasons that men cheat are pretty much the same as women. If you eliminate the small percentage of men who are womanizers, and keep in mind that there is also a small percentage of women who are man-izers, you know what I mean, women who simply use men in relationships. If you eliminate those people, you find that we all really do want a committed, loving relationship. Spoiler alert, the reason that most people cheat is simply because they're not getting what they want in their relationship. Duh. This is what everybody does, men and women, and that's really the most important thing you have to look out for. Right up front, make sure you know what it is he wants in the relationship, and make sure you are providing his needs as best you can. He, of course, should be doing the same thing for you. Yes, I'm not forgetting about that, and neither should you. The truth is that since men have a biological need for, let's just call it regular physical intimacy, regular meaning a lot, since men absolutely need this on a regular basis, they are more likely to be tempted by women who are offering it to them. This is not to excuse men in any way for cheating. They are obviously they're responsible for their actions, and they need to be able to understand their own biological impulse. Yes, which makes it important for you that you keep your trigger finger on the pulse of your relationship at all times. So let's jump right into how you avoid men who cheat. Avoid tip number one is avoid men who you know have a history of cheating. I know, duh. Gosh, I wish it were more complicated than this, but you'd be surprised how many women are actually attracted to men who sleep around. And there is a biological reason for this, by the way. A man who gets regular bedroom time from women seems to be valuable. Women must want him, right? After all, if so many women sleep with him, he's got to have something going on, right? Well, there's an old saying, those who are well fed always seem to have all the food. What this means is that a person if they carry their attitude right, then we assume they must be confident and sexually desirable. It's not always true, but that's the psychological trick that happens in our head. All right, avoid tip number two is avoid men who are under the age of 30. This one might seem to be a little arbitrary, but the truth is that guys who are on the young side are typically not really ready to commit to a long-term relationship, no matter how they may try to convince you otherwise. A man needs to have his career in place and moving forward before he considers having a wife and family. Otherwise, he's just not there. If he's out there having fun, you're going to have a tough time selling him on the fact that he needs to give it up to go get married and make a commitment. This is common sense, but as I say, it's not so common. Avoid cheaters. Tip number three, avoid men that tell you they're not looking for a monogamous relationship. Here's another one that falls into the super obvious duh category. But you'd be surprised how many women take this as a challenge. And what do? They try to conquer the man who says he can't be conquered. It's like the world's best reverse psychology trick, right? And it actually works. Think of how many guys you've probably gotten involved with only to find out that he wasn't really ready or into the relationship. Which, when you found out, when he told you he didn't want to date only you. That's right, he wanted to date other women. Do yourself a favor, and if he tells you early on that he's not looking for a committed relationship, believe him. Don't let yourself get suckered into thinking he's Mr. Super Attractive just because he's super unavailable. Hey, are you having problems getting a commitment from a guy? The first thing you have to know is if he really loves you. If you want to find out, I've got a great quiz you can take. Go on over to datingfire.com/does he love you. That's datingfire.com/does he love you. Go take the quiz right now, or just click the link in the description below. All right, avoid cheaters. Tip number four is cultivate a strong sense of self. Now, of course, I should have started out the list with this one, as all healthy relationships start out with a strong individual, but let's be real here. Most people seek grounding and stability through a romantic relationship, even if it never really gives them that in the long run. If you don't come to a relationship with a strong sense of stability and self-confidence, your relationship will definitely test you, And the likely thing is that that test will result in your failure, okay? Avoid cheaters. Tip number 5, trust your gut. Women have exceptionally good intuition when it comes to knowing if a person is good for them or not. The only problem is they rarely heed their instincts. In the first 3 dates, if you sense that he is not faithful, you should probably trust that and move on, okay? Just trust it. This is a tricky thing because there will be some times when you misread a guy and then find out later that they were probably a good catch. But you know what? You gotta watch for the red flags and don't be focusing on avoiding a cheater at the start of your relationship all the time. Okay, you also have to be focused on reading their personality as best you can. So there's more than one facet to this. Avoid cheaters. Tip number 5, watch out for the dark triad. Now there's this group of 3 personality traits. You might have heard this before. It's called the dark triad. And these traits usually lead to a great deal of suffering in relationships and suffering in general if you have one of these people in your life. These 3 personality types are narcissism, which is pride, egotism, a lack of empathy. Then there's Machiavellianism, which is manipulation and exploitation of other people with sort of an absence of morality. And then the third is psychopathy, which is characterized by antisocial behavior, impulsivity, selfishness. Now, unfortunately, these personality disorders are sometimes covered up by really effectively by a lot of charisma. So be on the lookout, and again, trust your instincts. Avoiding cheaters. Tip number 6 is to watch their actions. Early on in a relationship, it's very easy to get caught up in assuming that people are who they say they are. After all, we want to believe them, don't we? And you're going to want to believe whatever a man says, especially if you find him attractive. When you're out on those first few dates with a man, listen to him, watch his body language, pay keen attention to him and what he's doing. And of course, he's going to say whatever sounds best to draw you in if he's interested in you. The signs that he is thoughtful, considerate, and compassionate, okay? Just watch how he treats you. Is he communicative of his feelings? Is he judgy towards others? How does he treat the waiters and the other clerks at the place you're at? Is he busy checking his phone, or is he paying lots of attention to you? These are all actions that you have to watch out for. Avoid cheaters. Tip number 7, find out about his family history. Very often, those people who have unfaithful parents also learn this behavior from them, which gave the same idea into their head that they should be cheating. A family history of cheating could be a really big warning sign, especially if he doesn't appear to be bothered by it. Now, you might even want to throw up a test balloon. It's what I call a test balloon. What you do is you talk about a friend of yours who has this particular thing happen to them and see how he responds to your story. See who he's most sympathetic to in terms of a cheating situation. See if he has a story that is similar to that, okay? According to couples and sex therapist Esther Perel, affairs are way less about sex and they're a lot more about desire. Desire for attention, desire to feel special, desire to feel important. She's very right on that. Another important factor is to look at your own views about cheating. Have you been cheated on many times in the past? Are you possibly hypersensitive to this possibility? Is it this one thing that sticks in your mind most of all? I don't want to be cheated on. Because if you're thinking about that all the time, unfortunately, it can create the energy that makes it happen. Now, this trail of things that happens in a relationship can be devastating, but it can also be avoided if you know how to do that. Okay? It used to be that for women, for the most part, they understood men's behavior, and most women knew what men wanted and needed. Sometimes they were taught this by their mothers, and they knew how to use this insider information to get a man to fall in love with her. Not through tricking him or deceiving him, but just through simple psychological principles. And these principles were a win-win. It wasn't manipulation. It made the guy win and the girl win because they got together and they got to have the relationship they wanted. That's what learning about how men think will do for you. You're not taking advantage of men by using strategies to get you into a good relationship. You're helping him get off his butt and do what he needs to do, which is love and desire you. Don't trust that this guy is going to figure out how to fall in love with you. Make it happen. And yet time and time again, I see women who honestly believe that the man is going to figure all this stuff out on his own. He's going to accidentally fall in love with you somehow. He's going to accidentally make you happy. He's going to accidentally make a commitment to you. He's going to accidentally propose to you, and you're going to accidentally live happily ever after. Let me assure you that love like this is never an accident. It's where preparedness meets opportunity and some chemistry. If you don't know how to create that opportunity by knowing men and knowing what they really want, you're probably not going to get the man you want. Not only will he not miss you or value you, or unfortunately, he's probably going to have that itch to look elsewhere if you don't understand him. The women who get what they want know when to stop seeking and start winning with men. Your first step is to get my free ebook on this. Go on over to datingfire.com/free book. It's the fastest way to get started on this whole process. Get going now. Go over to datingfire.com/free book. Get yourself started now. And hey, if you're new here, or even if you're not, quick, do the big 3 before you go. Like and subscribe. Get these videos every week. Number 2 is you can turn on notifications, so you can click that little whatever button next to the subscribe button so you get notified whenever I release the next video coming soon. And if you're already subscribed, please share my videos with somebody that you know. Spread the word. Women everywhere can benefit from this, okay? And start getting success. And number 3, comment below. Did you agree with the tips I gave? Is there another video that you'd like to have? Leave me a comment if you want a part 2 or if there's another topic you want me to cover. And don't forget, I'll just wait a few more seconds. I'm going to put a recommended video right up here in the corner for you to click. This is Carlos Cavallo. As always, live and love with passion.